Despite the clickbait nature of this video's title, I sincerely believe this video is a must-see, not just for YouTubers, but those on other video viewing platforms. I'll endeavour to open your eyes to something quite surreal, yet strangely mundane. There are no celebrities, there's no famous people featured, no influencers, and there's no clever, funny or breathtaking visuals to see. It's not a heartwarming tale, and nor are there any cute animals or kids. My videos probably get an average of 40 views. I'd like them to have more viewers, not for any monetary gain, but to inform and educate the uninformed everywhere. And you, dear viewer, do need educating on this. I should begin by stating a fact. I have no mental illness. Despite a mental health professional, and I use that term loosely, giving me an incorrect diagnosis of being delusional. This psychiatrist, who I volunteered to see I think back in 2017, made her diagnosis on the strength of what the police had concocted regarding some of my evidence. And given the police are part of the problem, she should not have solely relied on their deliberate gaslighting and dismissal of my evidence. I live in southeast London and have lived in this area for upwards of 50 years. The areas I've lived include Plumstead, Woolwich, Deptford, Walworth, Sydenham, and for the last 20 plus years, Peckham. In the last 11 years, possibly more, I've been subjected to secret targeting operations. These operations include having strangers stalk and harass me, and covert surveillance to spy on me. I have posited my hunch my attendance at the 2009 G20 anti-capitalist protest in central London, where I took photos for my web, was the catalyst for the targeting and steady and stealthy destruction of my life, because the targeting began shortly after this. Such targeting ops are used on others here in the UK and in many other countries, and genuine as these other targets might be, sadly there's very little credible evidence to support their claims, which doesn't mean they're not genuine targets, but only that they have little in the way of evidence. And this targeting program is designed this way, and would explain how it's been operating unhindered for so many years. As with some of those other targets, I am also a nobody. You will very reasonably ask, why would the state or deeper state invest so much time, personnel and technology to stalk, spy on and harass a nobody? It's a pertinent question and one I can't personally answer. Whichever the reason, I most definitely am a target of these hyper-invasive and harmful, as well as obviously unlawful operations. Unlike the majority of my fellow targets, I have acquired some evidence of a few elements used as part of this targeting program. 2 videos on my YouTube channel and also uploaded to my OneDrive account will bear this out if watched and listened to carefully. In them I show proof that my location is always found, whether I'm riding my bike, driving or sleeping in a car in different London locations, and the other is the use of triggers or sensitizers, which are a way to keep me focusing on the fact of my targeting. Other more serious aspects and methods used are very, very difficult to prove, which makes my evidence in this video even more puzzling. The clips you're about to watch, and perhaps more important, listen to, are from within the flat and block I exist. There's also a few from just outside the block. Some of what you will hear will be from other tenants, and also a few people passing by. But there are what can only be described as surreal recordings, because there's no obvious origin or source from whence they came, and that is why I say this is a must-see video. Rather than state what I hear, as I did in one of the 2 targeting videos which I recommend you watch and listen to with some earphones and a decent volume level, I've decided instead to add a timeline of where I hear a voice or voices, and some of those voices electronic in nature, and leave it to you to decipher what is said. If you agree you hear these disembodied voices, though not always understanding what's being said, is it not enough that you are also hearing something almost supernatural? Though I would always look to technology as the reason for them. In a few of the recordings, the television can be heard in the background, and also you'll hear the default female voice of the lift. Ignore these, as you need to properly focus on those surreal male, female and electronic voices. For the very first video, I will state what both I and my brother hear, but from then on you're on your own, and you'll only have the timeline to rely on. Comments are usually disabled for my evidence-based videos. Exposing this targeting program carries with it the inevitable disinformation from those doing what they can to prevent exposure. But should you wish to contact me, my details, if I remember to add them, are at the end of this video. Bye.
Doors closing. Third floor. Door opening. Please select your floor.
If you have watched and listened to this strange, hopefully compelling companion piece to the other 2 targeting videos referred to within this video, and you used a laptop, tablet or PC rather than a mobile phone, and with the necessarily focused concentration it and they deserve, you should consider it a privilege to have witnessed something so rare. Evidence of aspects of these targeting operations, you will agree, if you've done any searching, is non-existent or not very credible. If you did manage to hear those voices, for which there is no obvious origin in this video, even if you cannot distinguish what is being said, you are witness to classified technology in use now, or the supernatural. And as I said before, I lean towards technology for this surreal element in my targeting. If you didn't hear any disembodied voices, and nor do you see any form of triggers or sensitizers used in those other 2 videos, then I can do no more to convince you about this targeting program, and you can continue living in a bubble of ignorance. You are not alone in this.